Students, welcome to the new session on C programming for problem solving. So in this session we will be discussing module 4, that is user defined functions. So this is the second session from module 4. In the first session we discussed what are functions, which are the different components of a function, that is function definition, function call and function declaration. Also we discussed the locations of function based on whether they are placed before main or after main, or how to place a function in a separate file. At the end of the previous session we listed out the different categories of function based on the parameters and the return values. So basically there are 4 types of function based on the parameters and return values, that is function with no arguments and no return value, function with arguments but no return value, function with no arguments and return value, and function with arguments and return value. So these are the 4 categories of function, and let us discuss these one by one. The first category is function with no arguments and no return values. Function is called without passing any argument to the function here. A function will perform the specified task, and after performing the specified task it will not return any value to the calling function. So the return type is void here. So in simple words it means if a function does not take any parameter, or in order for the function to execute, if it does not require any data, and if the function does not return any value after performing the specified task, then such a function belongs to this category, that is function with no arguments and no return value. So let us take an example here. Here we have written a function to add 2 numbers. So this is a program to add 2 numbers, and we have included a function called add that adds 2 numbers. So let us begin with the main method, main function here, void main. In main we are just calling the add function, and if you look at the syntax here, the add function is not returning any value. If the value is returned by the add function, we would be writing it as something like, say, sum is equal to add, or C is equal to add, something like this. That means we will be assigning the value returned from the function to another variable. Also, we are not passing any value to the function, so the parameter list is empty here. It's just opening and closing brackets, that is parenthesis. So now if you look at the definition of the function, we have written the return type as void. So when the return type of a function is void, it means that the function is not returning any value. Then we have the name of the function and followed by again empty set of parentheses, which means the function is not returning a value. So inside the function what we do is we declare 2 variables a and b and initialize them with the values 10 and 20. Also we declare another variable called sum to hold the result of the addition. The next statement does the addition, that is sum is equal to a plus b, and once the sum is found out we display the result, that is printf sum is equal to %d sum. So this is the first category of function. So the return type is void and it does not take any parameter. So the result of this function is sum is equal to 30. That means the required parameters are taken by the function, as well as the result is also displayed by the function itself. The second category of function is function that takes arguments but it does not return a value. So this type of function will take arguments but the values are not returned by the function. So parameters are passed from the calling function to the called function, and the called function does not return a value. So when we say calling function, the location from where the function is called. For example, if you have written add function in all the programs we have discussed, we know that the add function was called from the main. So main is the calling function here. And the called function is nothing but the function that is being called. The function called is add. So the definition of the add function is the called function. So parameters are passed from main to the add function, and the function will not return a value. So it just performs the specified action, and here the return type is void since it does not return a value. So this type of function will take arguments but it does not return a value. So let us see an example here. Again it is the same add program, but this time with some changes. So what we have done is, let us look at the main here. So here in main we have defined a as the first variable is a, second variable b, which are initialized to 10 and 20, and we have a variable called sum. So now we will call the add function by passing a and b. So here passing a and b, so the values of a and b are passed here, that is 10 and 20 are passed to this function. Students, please make a note, in this program the variable sum need not be defined. You just need to define a and b because the function is not returning a value, so you need not define sum here. So now when this add a of b, a comma b statement is seen encountered by the compiler, the control will go to the add function. So here you see void add int a int b, void, that means the function is not returning a value, and it takes two parameters a and b. So then we declare one variable to hold the result. Now the resultant variable, we are not passing the result, so we need a variable to store the result. So int sum, then sum is equal to a plus b, then printf sum is equal to %d sum. So here what happens is, the add function is taking two parameters, that is a and b, but it is not returning a value. That means the return type is void, so therefore there is no return statement in this function. So this type of function belongs to the second category. The third type of function is function with the arguments and return value. So this type of function takes arguments as well as it returns a value. So this we have already discussed. So parameters are passed from calling function to the called function. So the first example that we have seen in the first session that related to functions is an example for this category, because we have passed the parameters from the main. Also the function has returned the value from the to the main. So it performs a specified task and returns a value. So let us see an example here. So let's go to the main here. So we have declared three variables a, b, initialized to 10 and 20, and then sum. So we write sum is equal to add a comma b. So if you look at this statement, we know that sum is equal to add a comma b. So the add a comma b function will return a value, and that value is assigned to sum. So this is understood. And one more thing, we see that a comma b is written. That means these are the parameters that are passed to the function. So this type of function returns a value as well as it takes parameter. Even if you observe here, it is evident. So int, because the function is returning an integer value, int a comma b, which means the function is reading a value. That is, function is taking two parameters a and b. So the definition of function is like this: int sum, sum is equal to a plus b, then return the sum. So we will return the sum here. So because the return type is int, we need to return an integer. So return sum, and whatever value will be returned, that gets assigned to sum here. So this is the third category. The function is taking parameters as well as it is returning the values. The next type of function is function with no arguments but return value. So this type of function, it does not take any argument but it returns a value. So if you all can guess, the statement to call the add function here will be function with no argument. So just add, you don't write add a, you need not write add a comma b, but return value. So the function is returning a value, so it should be stored. So how do you call the function? We write sum is equal to add. So this is how. So function is called without passing any parameter to the function. Function will perform the specified task and returns value to the calling function. So let us see an example here. Let us go to the main first. So void main int sum is equal to add, because see there are no parameters here in add, but the function returns the value. That's why we are assigning the function to integer variable sum. So when this statement is seen, the compiler will invoke the function. The function will get invoked here. So int add, again the function is returning the integer value, but it is not taking any argument. So we will add the two values here. So the values have to be taken from the function itself. So we write int a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, comma sum. Two variables we take and assign them with 10 and 20. Then we find the sum. Sum is equal to a plus b, and then return the sum. So when this statement is executed, the sum value will be returned to sum. So this is the fourth category of function. So students, I hope these four categories are clear to you. So when you say function does not return a value, the return type has to be void. If the function is not taking parameter, the parameter list has to be empty. If the function is returning a value, then the return type can be anything other than void. What type of value it is the function will return, its data type you need to write. And if the function is taking parameter, then when you call the function, you need to pass the required data. So next, let us see a program to find cube of a number. So as you all know, cube of a number is nothing but power, the number raised to the power 3. For example, 2 cube is 2 multiplied by 2 3 times, 2 into 2 into 2. Similarly, 3 cube is 3 into 3 into 3. So let us write this program with the help of a function. So first we have hash include stdio.h, which is the header file. Then we have defined a function called cube here that finds the cube of a number. So let's see how the cube is found out. So int cube, so it returns an integer value after finding the cube. The cube value is returned here. Int num, so this int num is nothing but the number whose cube has to be found out. So let us declare a variable called result to store the result after, that is the cube value has to be stored, for which we declare a variable called result. Then we will find the result as num into num into num. That means if the value 2 is passed, then 2 cube is 2 into 2 into 2. So we are multiplying 2 by 2 3 times. Similarly, if the number is 5, then result will be 5 into 5 into 5, that is 5 cube 125. So once the cube of the number is found out, the result is written in the variable result. So return result. Then let us go to the main function here. So we are declaring two variables here, num and result. Printf enter number, scanf %d ampersand num. So num is a number whose cube has to be found out, and result is the cube of number num. So once we read the value, let us call the cube function. So result is equal to cube of num. So here num is passed as parameter, and the result that is written by the function is stored in result. So once we get the result, we can display the result as cube is equal to %d \n result. So the sample output here is like this. Enter a number 2, the cube is 8. So this is how we can find cube of a number. This is similar to the add function. In add, what we do is we are passing two numbers. Here we pass one number. In add, we find the sum of the numbers. So sum is equal to a plus b. Here it is sum is, here we can take any variable. For example, cube or result is equal to num into num into num. Thrice we need to multiply the number. Now suppose you are writing the cube function before the main. Here In this such a case, we need not that is, this function is again similar to the previous function, cube function, but in this case we are not returning any value, or we are not passing any parameter. Simply the function cube is called without passing parameter and return value. So the cube function, there we have to declare the variables num and result, then read a number num, then calculate the result and display the result. This is similar to the category where category of function which does not return a value and does not take a parameter. You can write the function in any of the forms, any of the four categories, whichever is easier. So next let us see the advantages of user defined functions. So programming becomes easier. Large and complex tasks can be broken down into small simpler tasks using function. Easier debugging, that is finding and removing errors, is easier. Readability of the program is increased. Reusability, once the body of the function is defined, it can be called many times from different places in a program and using multiple times. So that is, these are the advantages. That means when you define function for a program, your program is divided into different modules. So tracking each module or debugging each module will be easier compared to a large single program. And removing errors is also easier, because you will come to know which particular method has thrown the error. Based on that you can correct the error. And reusability, and you can call the function as many times as you want according to the need. So these are the few advantages of using user defined function, that is structured programming. So now let us write a program to check if a number is prime or not by using functions, and this program is part of the lab experiment. So the question goes like this: implement using functions to check whether the given number is prime and display appropriate messages. No built-in math function to be used. That means we have to write a function that takes a number as parameter and it checks whether the given number is prime or not, and displays a result in the form of a message. So what is a prime number? A number which is greater than 1 and divisible by itself and 1 is a prime number. So prime number is any number which is greater than 1 and it is divisible by only by itself and 1. Then a prime number or a prime is a natural number greater than 1 and it has no positive divisors other than 1 and itself. So again it means the same. It means it is divisible only by 1 and itself. So here is a program. So first hash include stdio.h. So this program, in this program we are using scanf and printf built-in function, and these functions are defined in stdio.h header file. So we have to include the header file in our program. So the next line is the declaration of the function is prime. So we have declared the function like this: void is prime int num. That means is prime function takes a number as parameter and it does not return any result. So the return type is void. Is prime is the name of the function. Int num, num is the parameter that is taken by this function. So this is the function declaration because it's the header of the function followed by semicolon. So next let us come to the main function, void main int num. So this is the num declaration. We are declaring a variable called num. This variable is checked. The value of this variable is checked for prime number. So printf enter the integer number, scanf %d ampersand num. So we have declared variable num to which we are reading the values now. So scanf %d, because num is declared as integer and the value that is entered by the user has to be stored in num. So ampersand num. Next is prime of num. So we are calling the function is prime, passing num as the parameter. So this is the function call because we are invoking the function. So now let us see the function. Void is prime int num. This is same as the declaration except that there is no semicolon. So this is the function definition. Int I is equal to 2. So we will take a variable called I which is initialized to 2. Now the reason is, in order to check whether a given number is prime or not, what we do is we start dividing the given number from 2, starting from 2 till that number, we just go on dividing. For example, if the number is 12, we'll start dividing it from 2. So like it's generally it is like from 2 till 12 will be dividing. At any point, if we find that the number is divisible by a particular number, one of these numbers, then we conclude that the number is not prime number. For example, so when we divide 12 by 2, we get the remainder as 0. That means 12 is divisible by 2, so it's not a prime number. But let us take a number called 5. So when we divide 5 by 2, it is not divisible. So next we will take the next natural number, that is 3. So we will divide 5 by 3. Again it is not divisible. Next we will divide by the next number, that is 4. 5 by 4. Again it is not divisible. So when you divide 5 by 5, it is divisible. So if the division, what we do is we take the number, we just go on dividing that number starting from 2. So if the number that you divide, the moment you get remainder 0, if it is at the same number, that means when the I value reaches the num, at that point only if you get the remainder as 0, it means the number is divisible by itself. But if the value of I is less than that, for example, when you divide 12, if 12 is the number, so as soon as you divide by 2, you get the remainder as 0. So at this point 2 has not reached the value 12, so it means it is not a prime number. Or for example, if you take 5, so when we divide 5 by 2, 5 by 3, 5 by 4, only when you divide 5 by 5, we get remainder as 0. So it means the I value has reached till the number. At that point, we conclude that the number is prime number, means it is divisible only by itself. All the previous other numbers smaller than that were not divisible by this number. So that is the logic that we are using. Or if we take the number as, for example, say 9, then 9 divided by 2, it's not divisible. Next we divide 9 by 3, it is divisible. So we have not reached till 9. Immediately the minute we divided by the number by 3, we got the remainder as 0. So we can conclude that it's not a prime number. So if the number is prime number, then you will go on dividing that number till you reach the number itself, because all the others it's not divisible, so you will just continue doing that. So that is the logic being followed. So while num percentage I, the num is the given number, percentage operator is the division operator basically, but the result of this division is the remainder. So it's the modulus operator which returns the remainder after division. So if the number divided by I is initially 2, if it is not equal to 0, that means if the remainder is not 0. When the remainder is not 0, then the number is not divisible. So if the number is not divisible by I, then we have to divide it, start dividing with the next number. So I plus plus. This is while loop. While loop means it's a loop that continuously executes till the condition that is written, that is num percentage I not equal to 0 becomes false. That means num percentage I equal to 0. At this point the function will terminate, the loop will terminate. I hope it is clear. So we'll take the number and divide it by I starting from 2. If it is not divisible, we will try the next number. So we have written I plus plus. Again, if it is not divisible, again we'll increment I plus plus. So likewise we go on continuing. But at any point if we get that the remainder is 0, the condition will fail, because we want not equal to 0. So but suppose that we get equal to 0. If the remainder is 0, we will terminate the for loop. So the control will go to the next if statement. So if I is equal to num, so we will check whether I value has reached till num. I started from 2. If it has reached till num, it means that the number is prime number. That means when the I value will reach num, only when it is not divisible by any of the other numbers smaller than num. So printf percentage d is a prime number. So display the result, that is num is a prime number. Otherwise, if I value has not reached num, it means it is divisible by one of the numbers that is smaller than num. So in such a case, we can conclude that the num is not a prime number. So this is the logic of the program. So here is a sample output. Enter an integer number 5. 5 is a prime number. So next we have entered 12 as a number, but 12 is not a prime number. So here is the analysis of the program. So let's see what happens when we pass 5 as the number. Suppose we pass 5 as the number. So inside my main function, what happens, is prime of num function will be called as is prime of 5, because 5 is the number entered. Then is prime of 5 gets executed. That means when is prime of 5 statements gets executed, control will go to the is prime function, that is the function definition. So inside the function what happens, initially I will be set to 2, that is over here. So I is set to 2, while num percentage I not equal to 0. So num is 5 here. 5 percentage I means 2. 5 percentage 2. What is 5 percentage 2? It is 1. 1 is not equal to 0. The condition is true. So what happens? I plus plus. I plus plus means I which was 2. Now it becomes 3. So again the while loop will get executed. So again the condition is checked. Num percentage I. Num is still 5. I is 3 now. So 5 percentage 3, again the remainder is 2, so which is not equal to 0. The while loop gets executed, so I plus plus, so I becomes 4 now. So again the condition is checked. 4%, that is 5 percentage 4 now, because I is 4. The remainder is 1 and it is not equal to 0. Again the condition is true. While loop gets executed, I becomes 5. So this time num is 5, I is 5. 5 percentage 5. The result is equal to 0. The condition is false. So the control for the while loop will get terminated. Control will come out of the while loop. So I will be equal to 5. So since I is equal to 5, the result that is displayed is the condition is true. So the if part gets executed, that is it displays that 5 is a percentage d5 is a prime number. So if I is equal to num, condition is checked and 5 is equal to 5. So the condition is true. So the result is percentage d, that is 5 is a prime number. So this is one case. Next let us take one more example. So this time let us take 12 as the input. So assuming num is equal to 12. So again the main function is prime of num, that is prime of 12 will be called. So when it is called, the control will come to the is prime function. So in is prime function, initially I will be assigned to 2. Next the while loop gets executed while num percentage of I not equal to 0. Num is 12. 12 percentage 2. 12 divided by 2. The remainder is 0. 0 not equal to 0. No, the condition is false here. So I plus plus will not get executed. So the control will come out of the for loop. So next the if statements get executed. If I is equal to num. So I value is 5 here. Sorry, I value is 2 here. Then 2 is equal to 12. The condition is false. So else part gets executed and it prints the percentage d, that is 12 is not a prime number. I hope this is clear. So during the first division itself, the condition will fail here, because the result after division, that is modulus is 0. But we do not want it to be 0, not equal to 0. The condition is false. So the control will come out of the for loop and I is checked if it is equal to number, and it is not. So the else part get executed. So this is how we can check whether a number is prime or not. So next so let us see how to write this program without using function declaration. So when you don't use function declaration, when the function is defined before the main. So this program is same as the previous program, except that in the previous program we defined the is prime function after main. So we had to give a declaration before main, but this time we have defined the is prime function before main. So we need not give a declaration. So rest of the code is same as the previous one. So here is the flowchart for the is prime function. So this is for the main start, read num. So program starts, then we will read the number. Once we read the number, we will call the is prime function. See the symbol for the function. So it is like a rectangle, but there are two, the borders are at the sides. Okay, so once we call the is prime function, the control will come here to the is prime function. So here it is prime of num. So I will be initialized to initialization. So it's a process. So you have to write it in rectangle. After that, it's a loop. So loops are written within hexagon. That is this shape here. It is a hexagon. So while num of that, the condition is written inside the loop, while num percentage I not equal to 0. If it is true, then I is incremented by 1 and the loop continues. If the condition is false, then the control will go to the else part. So in the else part, we will check if the I value is equal to num. If it is true, it means that the number is prime. Otherwise, it means that the number is not prime. So once this is executed, once the complete function gets executed, the control will come back to the function and there is nothing to execute. So the program will stop. So this is all about the prime number program. I hope this is clear to you, students. So that's all we have for this session. Thank you for watching.